Good afternoon, Cross Timbers, and welcome to the Texan News Scoop, Texan TV News Week in Review news show. Here, we'll look at the week's top stories on campus, the region, and beyond. My name is Bethany Kyle, and it is October 17th, 2014. Here are this week's top stories. On campus, Midnight Madness was on Tuesday night in Wisdom Gym. As the clock struck midnight, the annual event showcased the cheerleaders, dance team, and men and women's basketball teams. Students began lining up hours in advance to pack the gym to watch the basketball teams have their first brief scrimmages of the season. For a gallery of photos from the event, you can go to the TexanNews.net homepage. In local news, both campus and community need to be aware that there will be a mass casualty exercise on Sunday at 10 a.m. The practice will simulate how Stephenville and Tarleton will respond in the case of a disaster and will use many campus facilities. Tarleton released a short video with more information on the plan and what to expect.
Hi, I'm Lieutenant Alvin Alcon with the Tarleton State Police Department. I wanted to let you know that on Sunday, October the 19th, Tarleton State will be hosting a mass casualty exercise roughly between the hours of 10 a.m. and 1 p.m. For more information, we'll go to Cheryl Hunter with the nursing department here at Tarleton State, who is the program coordinator.
Well, the day of the event, we will begin setting up the simulation about 8 o'clock in the morning. The actual sim part won't happen until 10 o'clock, so the community could expect to start seeing ambulances and hearing sirens about 10 o'clock on this end of campus. And then they will notice the helicopters coming and going. And then that part should be over about 1 o'clock, 1:30. So the sounds and the sights of the emergency responders should be done about then. We started off providing an exercise for our students to participate in, and then we invited community members to participate because we want our students to learn how to interact with their counterparts in the community. And then what we would really like to have happen on the back side of this exercise is that the nursing department become part of the emergency response program in this community, so that in the event of a disaster we can help the hospital and take overflow patients and really care for them. We are all nurses and nurse practitioners, and our building could function as an overflow hospital. So one of the big things we're hoping to get out of this exercise is that designation, that we could help as a hospital overflow in the case of a disaster.
Thank you, Cheryl. I also want to thank all of our citizens for being patient with us during this exercise. We will try to keep the inconvenience to a minimum. We hope that you have a great day, and we hope to learn a lot with this experience.
According to a release from the university, areas that will be affected by the drill will be Rome, Frey, Sloan, and Harbin streets near campus, the nursing building, the intramural and practice fields, Wisdom Gym, and meeting rooms in the Student Center. They ask that students not enter these areas when the exercise is ongoing. Watch today's episode of Texan TV News on our YouTube channel to see an interview with the supervisor, Cheryl Hunter, with Texan News Services Shelby Shaw about the mass casualty exercise. From the Associated Press, the biggest story in Texas and nationally is after the death of the Liberian man who had the first case of Ebola in the United States. 2 Dallas nurses this week have contracted the virus as well. We'll go to the AP for a video on the current state of these 2 nurses and government reaction.
Federal health officials are on Capitol Hill today defending the country's response to the Ebola crisis, now that 2 nurses at a Dallas hospital got infected while caring for a Liberian man who died of the disease.
Errors in judgment have been made, to be sure, and it is our immediate responsibility today to learn from those errors, correct them rapidly, and move forward effectively as one team, one fight.
2 big questions. Why was one of the nurses, Amber Vincent, cleared by the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention to fly home from a trip to Cleveland with a low-grade fever?
My understanding is that she reported no symptoms to us.
And are the country's hospitals truly prepared to care for Ebola patients? The CDC said Thursday it's working to better educate healthcare workers.
There are more than 5,000 hospitals in this country. We're there to support, we're there with world-class expertise, and we're there to respond to threats.
Officials are trying to calm any fear, notifying Vincent's fellow air travelers. In Texas, one school district temporarily closed 3 campuses after it learned 2 students had been on the flight. The passengers are considered at low risk for Ebola. It's spread through direct contact with bodily fluids when a patient is symptomatic. Local health leaders in the Cleveland area are now retracing Vincent's steps during her recent visit there with family.
She was not at football games, she was not at restaurants, she was not at a pizza parlor, she was not at the grocery store. She was in her home. She's a very conscientious young lady.
Vincent is now being treated at Atlanta's Emory University. The other nurse, Nina Pham, will be moved to a special isolation unit at the National Institutes of Health in Maryland. Elsewhere, international airports in Chicago, Atlanta, Newark, and D.C. start screening passengers today from the 3 most affected West African countries, Liberia, Guinea, and Sierra Leone. Cindy Sharp, Associated Press.
And now we will go to the AP for the most recent stories nationally and internationally.
This is AP News Minute. The first nurse to be diagnosed with Ebola in Dallas is continuing her treatment at the National Institutes of Health near Washington, D.C. Nina Pham arrived at NIH Thursday night, where she'll be treated in an isolation unit, one of 4 in the country. President Obama says it may be appropriate to appoint someone to lead the domestic Ebola response. Following calls, he named an Ebola czar. Obama says he doesn't have a philosophical objection to imposing a travel ban from Ebola-afflicted West Africa, but says experts tell him that's less effective than measures already in place. Hurricane Gonzalo is taking aim at Bermuda as residents there brace for intense winds and damaging storm surge. Gonzalo is expected to pass within 30 miles of the island as a Category 3 storm Friday afternoon or evening. Travis Ishikawa launched a 3-run walk-off homer in the bottom of the 9th inning to lift the San Francisco Giants over the St. Louis Cardinals 6-3, sending the Giants to the World Series. Ned Barker, The Associated Press, with AP News Minute.
This has been a production of the Texan News Scoop, a product of the Texan News Service from the Tarleton State University campus in Stephenville, Texas. Tune into Northland Cable Channel 9 on weekdays at 12:30 for each day's top stories and Wednesdays at 1 for the week's top stories in Spanish. You can follow the Texan News Service on Facebook and Twitter and check out our website at www.texannews.net for all of your latest local, state, national, and international news, as well as all of your entertainment and sports updates, and the live stream of Texan TV News. Tune in again next Friday for next week's top stories in review. Today's broadcast was produced by Jordan Palmer and Alejandra Araguin. I am Bethany Kyle. Have a wonderful weekend, Tarleton Texans.